guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Sarah. And I'm Selena, and we're recent Ivey graduates and incoming first year university students. Check out in the description box which business programs we've gone into. So this video is in no way a flex, but rather an interesting topic that if you asked us a year ago, we wouldn't have thought was possible. So we'll be sharing our journey with being featured on national TV twice within the span of a few months, and one of these are on CBC Toronto, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and CTV Toronto, which is the Canadian Television Network, and we'll be adding snippets of our interview at the end of this video, but you can find the full video linked in the description box below, and without further ado, let's get started. So for a quick disclaimer, these are not guaranteed methods to be featured on TV, as a lot of these do rely on luck. However, the methods that we used are doable, so if you want to be featured on TV, keep on listening. So for the CBC interview, we talked about our books that we published in our last year of high school, which is also last year. So these two books, and both books were on the topic of East Asian empowerment because there is and was a rise in anti-Asian hate. So we self-published, and if you want to learn more about our books as well as how we did it, you can check out this video with more steps on exactly what we did. This was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for us, and also a very first big interview, and we're so grateful for this opportunity. We reached out to CBC Toronto because of how prevalent anti-Asian racism was, and also because we just got the hang of cold emailing, so we really wanted to try that out. And for anyone that doesn't know, cold emailing is basically when you email a company or a person without having any prior relationship or connection with them. However, we actually got an interview from a contest on Instagram that was hosted by CBC, and it's called Community Champions, where anyone can nominate anyone else who is making a difference in the community. And I believe the top 10 finalists are featured on the website. So we applied with the story of our books, and unfortunately we were not chosen, so we thought that was the end of it. But a couple months go by, and I receive an Instagram message from one of the judges of this contest, who also happens to be one of CBC's anchors, and she was interested in our story and wanted to feature us under CBC Toronto's Our Story category. We started going over the details, and this entire process took a couple of days. We decided to do a socially distanced interview, and we chose a location near home and brought our books on that day, having prepared some vague answers for potential interview questions. A large portion of the interview wasn't aired because our anchor asked us questions to get to know us better and also make us more comfortable, as we were pretty nervous about this. So on the day of the interview, as we were going to leave the house, our dad really wanted to join us, and we couldn't say no, so he took a lot of behind-the-scene footage. For confidential issues, we will not be sharing any footage that have either the anchor or the cameraman. The entire interview was an hour long, and we took a variety of shots with direction from the cameraman, and we had these small, tiny mic packs that we had on our waist and small microphones that we had on the collar of our sweaters. Because we conducted this interview outside of a local community center, we had to do multiple retakes because there was loud trucks that passed by that interrupted with the sound quality, and also because the sun was just not being cooperative. We were so excited to see our interview air, and our anchor also sent us a digital copy, which we will be keeping forever to really cherish and remember this experience. So the main takeaway from this experience is really that even if there's a competition that you think you have no chance in, still go for it, because you never know, there may be a bunch of opportunities that are unexpected, such as this interview that occurred for us. So even if you don't apply for a competition, as long as you have a meaningful idea with good intentions, just contact the news stations, and you can usually do this through a variety of methods. So once you go on their website or their social media and you find the contact information, whether this is through phone or emailing, although emailing is probably easier because they might not necessarily pick up if you call them. Once you have the email, you can try cold emailing them, which we've also made a video on, and you never know. Anything could happen. Next, we will be talking about a CTV interview, which is the perfect example of the benefits of cold emailing. Once again, we have made a video on how you can cold email, as well as we've attached an example of a cold email that we've used to secure remote internships last year, so be sure to check that out. So this interview was about how we started our own nonprofit organizations last year. Many of you probably already know this based on our other videos, but we sent them an email through cold emailing, and they replied after a few days, so it was very quick. And through email, we discussed the specifics of what we were talking about. Although we didn't get interview questions ahead of time, we did know it was through Zoom because of COVID-19, so it was just going to be recorded through Zoom and then published live. So the interview process was really smooth. I think it the entire thing only took maybe 1 hour or 45 minutes. And like the CBC interview, we were asked more questions than was aired. And these were some pretty general questions like why did you start your organization, what it's about, as well as some tips that you would have for other youth wanting to do something similar. And the only difference was that they wanted us to send videos and pictures of us doing work, like, working on a website or going through our Instagram, to create the extra content that you will see in the snippet at the end of this video. Then all we had to do was wait for the interview to air, but because we don't have cable, because we never watch TV, we had to wait for it to be published online. And then once it was published, we screen recorded it, shared it on a nonprofit account, got more people to be aware of it. But the most surprising part was that even though a bunch of people in the neighborhood saw it and recognized us, we were not expecting a film teacher to see it. And he sent us a separate email a few days later saying he saw us on TV, sending us congratulations, and we were literally shook. We didn't know that many people watch TV, which was really surprising because we never do, and so many people saw us, and they were telling our mom after, oh, I saw your daughters on TV, and then we were like, whoa. But other than the surprise, it was really nice just getting those nice messages from people and, listening and seeing that we made a difference. So this concludes our story and how we were featured on national television twice, and this may or may not have been what you expected, but if we can do it, so can you. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos on what we've done and how we did them, and we will be posting new videos weekly. On that note, Go Twins out!
Two Toronto sisters are hoping their words will help uplift other East Asian youth at a time when their community is being heavily stigmatized. Sarah and Selena Guo are 17-year-old twins who each wrote, designed, and published their own book during the pandemic in response to the rise in anti-Asian racism. I spoke to them about what they hope to express through their books and the importance of representation.
Since we grew up in primarily Caucasian neighborhoods, we were very aware of our differences.
Growing up in Toronto as first-generation Chinese Canadians, twin sisters Sarah and Selena Guo have always straddled the line between two cultures, at times feeling isolated and disconnected. Their community, though, had always been welcoming, so they were taken aback when they first heard of the sharp rise in anti-Asian racism during the pandemic.
Since we never really experienced it too much, we actually didn't realize how much and how prevalent it was. It sort of escalated to a point that we were fearful that we were teaching our parents words to defend themselves.
That's when they got the idea to each publish a book. Sarah's book, entitled One Point in Time, is a collection of free verse poetry inspired by her personal experiences.
Bunch by bunch, you take them out and place it on a china plate. You were told that's the way to eat dumplings.
Besides helping East Asian youth connect with their cultural roots, she hopes her writing will make them feel less alone.
You remember you have school tomorrow. You can't bring your dumplings to school. Your dumplings have Chinese chives, and they smell bad. So I wanted to focus on a variety of topics. So I wanted to not only embrace East Asian cultures, but I also wanted to highlight, again, some stereotypes such as the model minority myth. They don't see the endless nights of page flipping or the repetitive motion of sliding your yellow highlighter across the page. Whenever we do succeed, for example, getting the top of the class on a math test, we feel that sort of downplayness of our hard work when people just say, because you're Asian, you're smart, or because you're Asian, you're good at math.
Selena's book aims to debunk stereotypes as well. She also hopes it will empower others like herself.
My book is called East Asian Girls Can. Sort of one sentence of an inspirational line and then a fact section. Because this book is graphically designed for a lot of young youth as well, I wanted to provide them some non-fictional facts to back up my points.
In it, she also touches on the negative impact of certain cultural norms she experienced growing up.
This is mostly just, there's always at family gatherings, people want to, show off their kids, and sometimes kids, when their parents don't brag about them or they don't do anything too, significant, it's supposed to just empower them that it's okay if that happens and they don't have to be the perfect or golden child.
The sisters hope to inspire other young people in the East Asian community to share their stories. They also hope to see more schools incorporate diverse books in their curriculum.
Ever since we were little, we never saw ourselves represented in literature. This book is really just being there for kids in a way that we didn't have growing up. I think diversifying literature is so important because it gives youth a sense of belonging, so they can see characters that act and even think the same way as them. And books have the power to encourage readers while at the same time enlighten other readers on the truth about the lives that they don't live.
And both their books are available for purchase on Amazon.
After the break, Toronto twins doubling up on pandemic projects. The sisters already making a difference and reaching out to young people around the world. It's time now for Toronto Together and twin sisters making the most of their talents.
The high school students have each launched their own nonprofits to help the community and beyond during the pandemic.
So Just Me Tutoring was started in June last year, and it's really just focusing on providing free virtual one-on-one tutoring for students all across the world. It actually started...
Selena Gua started Just For You tutoring last June after experiencing the challenges of virtual learning firsthand. She began helping other students here in the GTA, but has now connected with people in more than 30 countries. Meanwhile, her identical twin sister Sarah is helping to amplify the voices and ideas of young people just like her.
I realized that a lot of adolescents are overlooked for being too young. So that was the biggest catalyst for my organization, because I wanted to create a platform where youth could share their thoughts and feelings without the fear of being judged.
Sarah's Eyes on Youth aims to publish digital magazines offering young people the opportunity to express themselves through artwork, creative writing, and more. Sarah's already connected with more than 90 interested writers from around the world.
Incredible work.